Right, this here is Tamiya's 1/48 scale A6M3 Type 22 0. So, this aircraft is allegedly flown. It's that famous picture, and allegedly it's being flown by Nishizawa. We don't know for certain, but we think it is. So, typical Tamiya, beautiful, everything's friendly to the modeler, apart from the lack of rivets. You gotta do that by yourself. I didn't really do so well on the rivets. I kind of rushed it all, so that's why they're a little wonky in areas. So it's pretty much perfect build. Has options to do. So I'm going to compare this to the Eduard kit. So this one, the Tamiya one, has an option to fold the wings. I don't know if the Eduard has aftermarket for that. I don't know how they do it. I need to make the Type 21 0. But this Tamiya kit does have the ability to fold its wings. Now, or wing tips. Now, I think, I'm no expert on this, but I think Nakajima Zeros had the Aotake in the wheel wells and Mitsubishi Zeros did not. And this here, I think it's a Mitsubishi A6M. So, whoops. I corrected that on my Eduard one. So yeah, everything here is out of the box apart from the Eduard seatbelts, which I added because I put the Tamiya Pilot in the Eduard kit and I put the Eduard seatbelts in the Tamiya. So painting wise, I started off with Mr. Color 8 Silver. Goes down very nicely. Then I put down some chipping fluid and I did the primer, this dark red sort of primer color around the, kind of pre-shaded it on, and then I chipped that back. Then, so this is the fuselage, this isn't the nose. I'll tell you about the nose in a bit. Then I put another layer of chipping varnish over. I think I sealed it in. I might have actually sealed it in, and then I put chipping varnish over, and then we sprayed XF76 over. Then we chipped that back, and then finally we did the field applied green. Well, no. We did the XF76, chipped it, painted the yellow stripes, or the yellow leading edges, and then painted the roundels. Then we did XF11, I think. It ended up being quite dark, but I think that's realistic. And you can't really see much of the chipping. However, from certain angles you can see the layers of the chipping. For instance, underneath the cockpit, you can see the layers of chipping under the green, and I think that's a really good look. So for the nose, what I did was sprayed it with the Mr. Color 8. Then we put on Tamiya NATO Black or Tire Black, either one of the two. I didn't use flat black. Don't use flat black. I don't think it's the right shade either. I think there's like a special Mitsubishi shade, whatever. We'll find that one day. I just put on I heavily thinned it with IPA. I put chipping fluid on before that, and then I just chipped it how I saw in the references, and it came out like that. And I would say pretty realistic. So on the belly, weathering wise, I did OPR. It's the full light to dark, lighting the panel shade, each panel with buff and pale white, faded white, from AB502, and then moving across the palette darker and darker till we got to the brown. OPR is rendering. It's not oil paint weathering, it's oil paint rendering. It's pretty much, I would say it's like 80 on aircraft. It's probably like 90% of the weathering process. If you do 90% of the weathering process with techniques from OPR, then you have done OPR on your aircraft. That's what I would say it is. So it's not just, I did a few streaks, I did ammo, panel line wash, and then I did a pin wash. Like, no, I want to be moving towards a more realistic finish than that. So that's why I've chosen to go down the OPR route. If you, yeah, nothing against people who just do a panel line pin wash and then call it a day, wipe it off, call it a day. Nothing against that, but I want to get much more realistic in my finishes and getting more higher level. So that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I've inspired you to make a Tamiya A6M3. See you in the next video. The Eduard A6M. Peace.